The Patriots did not win the Super Bowl, but they did get number 2 on Elliot's power rankings, so that's a nice consolation prize. Here's a full look at numbers 1 through 8 in your rankings, and you have the Saints at 4.
You okay with that?
Up 14 spots from week 1.
Yeah,
I am okay with it.
I think the Saints really are in a strong position right now because you look at their defense, they have a lot of young players. I mean, they just swept the Rookie of the Year race. And I give Sean Payton so much credit for changing the organizational MO for them, which was, hey, we'll just put it on number 9's right arm and we'll outscore teams. They changed their philosophy. Remember, they got Adrian Peterson. They wanted to run the football. Instead, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram got going. They played defense, and they just asked Breeze to win games for them late or on third down.
No, I love where the Saints are. And you just spoke about Breeze and the 2 rookies that they have, but they played defense this year. They played defense. And whenever you can play defense like that with a Drew Brees and those explosive players you got on offense, they're always going to be one of them tough teams to beat. So I like where you put the Saints.
Shout out Cam Jordan. What a year.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
him. So then you have the Rams, another team who turned things around offensively. Their defense was already good, but they're at number 8 right now, up 21 spots from week 1.
Yeah, I think with all the Carson Wentz love, it was very easy to overlook that Jared Goff was having, in maybe another season, would have been more underlined as a great player, MVP candidate. Remember how bad he looked for the Jeff Fisher Rams last year. Shows what coaching can do, and you got to give him a lot of credit for taking that step.
Rams got some big-time playmakers. The only thing that scares me is their schedule is going to get tougher. They're no longer the underdogs. They went from worst to first. So every game they go in this year, they're about to get everybody's best shot. So we're going to see how they come back.
Yeah, everybody now kind of expects a lot from them. They were one of the biggest surprises of 2017. What else? What was your biggest surprise of the season?
My biggest surprise has to be Case Keenum, man. He came in there. He was the backup on this roster, and he came in, and we're still waiting for him to have a bad game. I know they put up a bad game as a team total against the Philadelphia Eagles, but this kid right here, man, played lights out all year, and everybody wanted to kind of put him in the category of game manager, but he made some throws, getting out of sacks, making some throws down the field, and gave this team a chance to play in the NFC Championship, and he balled this year.
I mean, that game in general, the Vikings and Saints game, was probably the biggest surprise ending of the entire season.
You bet.
What do you think?
For me, it's that guy right there, Alvin Kamara. I had no idea this guy was that good. I mean, that good.
That's smooth.
Almost 1,600 yards from scrimmage. He's got all these touchdowns. He barely played at the beginning of the year, and then against Atlanta late in the year, he got concussed in the first quarter, didn't come back. So he missed a lot of time. I thought if he didn't miss that time, his stats were a little higher up. He was an MVP candidate, and he really made that offense go. He averaged over 10 yards a catch as a running back. You don't see running backs do that much. I mean, did you expect him to be this good?
Not at all. I didn't even know who he was before the beginning of the season.
There you go.
And now, shoot, if I'm taking 2 running backs, he might be my first or second. I don't know.
I remember at the Combine, it was all about Christian McCaffrey. Alvin Kamara, what a surprise. So after a fantastic year, Alex Smith is now going to the Redskins. Here we see Elliot's 9 through 16 rankings with the Chiefs at 16. So let's just get right into it. Who won the Alex Smith trade?
Can I say neither?
Really? Neither?
I didn't love this
There's
deal.
no winners here?
Hey, those GMs know what they're doing for their franchises. But just sitting here, being the peanut gallery, you got Alex Smith, who flipped the narrative, right? Remember, he couldn't throw the deep ball, he couldn't complete it deep, and he was one of the best deep throwers in pro football last year, highest passer rating. And his mobility saved them against the Redskins on Monday Night Football. Him taken off out of the pocket. He's deceptively quick. Okay, let's look at it from the Redskins' point of view. Kirk Cousins is younger. If you watch the Redskins games last year, you saw a guy with a banged-up offensive line balling out when he wasn't getting a lot of help. Remember, Terrell Pryor was supposed to be this great free agent acquisition. Jamison Crowder didn't exactly light it up last year. Jordan Reed's always hurt. I thought Kirk Cousins really competed, so I don't really understand this from either play. By the way, Patrick Mahomes, you're putting a lot of stock in that. He played one game. I know they see him in practice every day, James, but I didn't like it from either point of view.
And I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one, and I'm strictly going off you. They've seen what this kid could do in practice, and not only that, some of these throws that he made in preseason that maybe 5 or 6 quarterbacks may be able to make in the National Football League right now. So this kid's a special talent. To me, he's more of an explosive player than Alex Smith. So you're going to be able to do a lot of different things on the offensive end with him at the quarterback position. And I feel like the Redskins lost because I feel like Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Alex Smith, and they never really put like the defense around him. And Alex Smith's only been successful in his career with big-time defense. And this year he was special, but the Niners, he had a crazy defense. You know, this Kansas City defense with all those guys over there. Kirk Cousins never had that, and he took these guys to the playoffs. So I feel like he's a better player than Alex Smith, but they went that route. I don't know why. They know something we don't.
Kirk Cousins won the trade. That's who won, because now he sets the market.
I wish I was his friend. I wish I was his friend.
Right? I mean, he's going to get paid. You never see a free agent like this with his skill set come on the market. And then also, I mean, I don't know what's going on with his relationship with the Redskins, but it clearly wasn't great. So I think he's getting out of a bad relationship, too.
Absolutely. Christmas cards.
Nice. I know, right? Yeah. So here's a look at 17 through 24 here.
I'm happy with this.
I know. Hey, you got it in every week. You should be happy with this list, Elliot. You made it. How about the Ravens at 17? Why?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I think the Ravens are the definition right now of an 8-8, 9-7 football team, and 17 is appropriate for them. But in a news note that kind of went under the radar, Ozzie Newsome going to basically be out of the GM slot here after the season. And I just want to say, you're talking about the first African-American GM in the NFL. Guy that helped draft guys like Ed Reed and Haloti Ngata, and the guys that made that defense so great. And oh, by the way, we also forget Ozzie Newsome, Hall of Fame tight end.
Right.
This guy's had a glorious career, and he barely gets talked about at all. And so I just think that he deserves a shout out.
Yeah, and he's an unbelievable GM putting that team together. But it's tough because I don't know where the Ravens are supposed to be right now. Because one week they look like they're going to the Super Bowl. The next week they look like they're not even going to be able to beat the Cleveland Browns. But what we do know is they got a big-time defense, and if the offense gets consistent, they'll be okay.
They gotta get some receivers in there. They need some James Joneses in there, all right? I'm just saying. The Raiders now, they fell 15 spots from their Week 1 power rankings. This was one of the big surprises, I think, of the season, too.
James Jones played for the Raiders.
I played for the Raiders, yes, sir.
I had his football card. Yeah, Raiders went down this year. I think a few things happened. One, Derek Carr was walking around like Gollum out there trying to play quarterback with his back the way it was, and I deserves a lot of credit for his toughness. Offensive line didn't play as well, and then Michael Crabtree did not have the kind of year that he's had in the past. And then you had some of the problems on defense. They ended up being one of the most disappointing teams.
I'm with that, and I think the thing that stood out to me most, because I played with Derek Carr, I know how special he is, but the change of the offensive coordinator. You lose Musgrave, and then you get Todd Downing in here, and he calls a whole totally different game, and he never got in a rhythm with Derek Carr, and it showed up on the field. And I mean, he had a lot of drop passes. You're going to have those every now and then, but that offensive coordinator hurt.
Yeah, and how long did we wait finally for an interception too from that defense?
Exactly.
It was way too long. Time for too high, too low. James, I have 3 teams for you. You're going to tell me too high, too low, based on Elliot's rankings.
Elliot's wrong.
Here and
He's
smile.
wrong.
All right,
you get awfully comfortable your first time here on this set.
He's a natural. What can we say? Number 5, the Falcons. Too high, too low.
Falcons are too high for me, and I'm going to say that because this division, number 1, you got the Saints. We just talked about the Saints. Then you got the Carolina Panthers, who's going to be, and I think Tampa Bay will be better, but this division is going to be tough. I think they're too high. I mean, I like their defense this year, but this division takes me off them because it's going to be tough in that division. I don't even know if they're going to get back to the playoffs.
I get what you're saying, James, but I try to do this based on who wins on a neutral field, and it's not the Falcons' fault who's in their division. I mean, it's not their fault. That doesn't. You put them in a different division, they may go 12-4, 13-3. They've got talent on defense. It was their first year under a new OC. I believe in Dan Quinn. And I think they were a little awkward on offense last year. They're not losing a lot of players either.
Well, let's talk about the team that now has Kyle Shanahan, who was with the Falcons before the 49ers. Too high, too low at number 14.
I'm going too high on this one, too. And I love Jimmy G. Jimmy G is a baller.
Feels like you don't love him that much,
I love him, but I just think that they need to get some more pieces around him on the offensive end, and I think they need to build that defense up before they're at spot number 14 and going to be able to compete in this division and be able to make a playoff run.
If defense is going to adjust to Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan have a whole offseason to get together and learn about the opponents they're playing and working with one another. So I think that goes both ways.
Yeah, and Jimmy G, I think that he makes everybody around him better. And I mean, even Garrett Selleck, I saw him in
Garrett Selleck
yeah. Look, he's excited about it. They're they look completely different. So then you have the Cowboys at 20. Too high, too low?
I'm going to say the Cowboys are too low. I mean, they lost Zeke for so many games, and that was huge for their offense. They could not find their way once they lost Zeke. And then, they maybe last couple games they started getting it going. But, not too many big-time receivers on the outside neither. So if you lose a guy like Zeke, it's really going to hurt you. So Cowboys, I think, can move up because you're getting Zeke back. And you're going to be able to use that play-action pass. It'll definitely help Dak, even though Dak had a down year. But I think Cowboys too low once they get Zeke back and be able to make a run.
Couple of quick points. Prove-it year for Dak Prescott. Jason Witten's entering year 16. Des Bryant looks to be maybe a descending player. Terrence Williams isn't scaring anybody out there. And they lost Doug Free and Ronald Leary last year. People said no big deal. That offensive line wasn't as good.
All right, let's get into rankings 25 through 32. And right there at 27, you see the Giants, who are 20 spots down from where you thought they would be week one. That's where you ranked them week one. That's where we all thought that they would be.
I think people had them higher than I did.
There were people who picked the Giants to go to the Super Bowl. So what should they do with Eli Manning? We saw him dirty dancing with Odell Beckham Jr. at the Super Bowl. Such a great commercial. It's my favorite. But what should they do with him?
Listen, I just talked about Case Keenum. If you can get the best out of him, you telling me you can't get the best out of Eli Manning? I mean, that's the reason why they brought you over here to be coach. So I say absolutely keep him. Eli Manning, two-time Super Bowl champion. Keep him. You got a great defense, or great names on that defense. Get that defense right. Odell coming back. Keep Eli Manning.
Okay, we'll see what Pat Shurmur can do with him. What do you think?
A, I'm not ashamed to say I watched Dirty Dancing recently. And
really?
B,
How recently?
To me, we've got to give Eli Manning a little bit of respect here. When you're trying to convert third and eights to Tavares King, and that's your number one option, no disrespect, okay, because of injuries, and Orleans Darkwa is your best back, and your offensive line could be retooled, you got to give your quarterback something to work with. So to me, maybe he does have a declining skill set. What person or player doesn't after the age of, 34, 35 years old?
We're all in the decline.
Yeah.
Even Eli.
Yeah.
So, what?
Oh, that's just
hey.
I'm on my way up.
Let's talk about the biggest movers of the week in Power Up, Power Down. Of course, this is looking at week one to right now, your end of season rankings. And the Jaguars, they were up 28 spots. 28 spots.
Yes.
Okay. They were look, when I ranked them at the beginning of the year, Blake Bortles wasn't even going to necessarily be the starter, and people were wondering about how the whole Tom Coughlin, Doug Marrone dynamic was going to work. I didn't think that just acquiring free agents, usually that doesn't work. You don't have the continuity, and it all worked. It all worked for them. I was really impressed.
Hey, listen, the Jags should go way up, but I'm like him. I mean, nobody ever expected them to have this type of year, especially even when you just look at the quarterback position and everything that he showed us. You wouldn't think they would move up this or be this good this year.
No, I mean, they almost beat the Patriots. That was what a season they had. Now the Cardinals, they dropped 18 spots. A lot of people had high expectations for them, and now they're at 28.
Right, and at the top of the show, we talked about the different factors of what I was ranking here. Cap money, coaching changes, etc. I thought the Cardinals did great this year considering all the injuries they had, but that was with Bruce Arians. They've got a new head coach in Steve Wilkes, and they've got David Johnson coming off injury. We don't know if Larry Fitzgerald's going to play again, and they don't have a single quarterback under contract. So how do I rank them?
A lot of unknowns here. A lot of
and I think that's all you have to say right there. I mean, it's a quarterback-driven league, and they don't even have a quarterback under contract. So, I mean, they're ranked where they should be. But, I mean, if they can swing a guy like Kirk Cousins with that team, with that defense, I'm sure Larry would like that and come back and, not retire. I think they'll have a chance to probably move up.
All right, well, hopefully those questions are answered sooner rather than later. But a lot of surprises that we've been talking about during the show. So who do you think will be the surprise of 2018? Which team?
Well, I just said the San Francisco 49ers were too high, but I'm going with Jimmy G.
So you're back now.
I'm going with Jimmy G. Listen, this guy, like you say, a quarterback that makes everybody around him better. And not even on the offensive end, on the defensive end as well. He keeps the defense off the field. They come in fresh, getting turnovers, making plays. I'm looking forward to see these San Francisco 49ers and Jimmy G because I think they can shock a lot of people, and that is my surprise team.
Well, I just chastised you a little while ago for mentioning a team's division in their rankings. But with the Raiders, you look at their division.
The Raiders, I like it, though. I like it.
Kansas, okay, obviously, you see John Gruden there. That was a big get. Okay, but on top of that, Kansas City just dealt away Alex Smith. We know where the Broncos are right now. Every year we think the Chargers are going to go 10-6 and make the playoffs, and every year we fall flat on that prediction. So I think the Raiders have the opportunity. And then David Carr, working with an OC that he's comfortable with, and being healthy could be huge for
Coach Olsen and Greg Carr work together well.
Yeah, so they have the new coaching staff in there, Paul Gunther for the defense. We'll see if they can kind of turn things around there, but I'm definitely going to keep tabs on this tape right now. And next year, if it happens, we're going to rerun it, and if not, we're going to burn it. All right, so let's talk about the two teams that were just in Super Bowl 52, the Patriots and Eagles on their power trip.
Yeah, well, you see where I started the Patriots at number 1. Obviously, they were the Super Bowl champs. I had the Eagles at 19. I thought they were going to be better. You know, there's only one 16 spot to go around. You see the Eagles, though, take a jump early. That's when they beat the Redskins. And then when they got to number 1, that's when they beat the Redskins again on Monday Night Football at the Link. The Patriots, you see the gradual increase. That's when Matt Patricia's defense really started to improve, and they climbed all the way up to 2 there. You see the Eagles did have a little bit of a dip. I dropped the Eagles 2 spots after Wentz got hurt, even though they won that game. And then, of course, we see how it finished up at the end of the season.
I mean, a lot of people weren't seeing that finish coming with Nick Foles, and that was a huge surprise.
You bet.
But in terms of Super Bowl 53, because, you know, the Super Bowl just ended, so let's talk about the next one coming up. Who are the favorites for Super Bowl 53?
Am I taking this as first? Well, they got a guy called Aaron Rodgers coming back to the Green Bay Packers. And I played with him and played for the Packers. So I'm going the Packers. And then I'm going out here to Los Angeles, and it's not the Rams. I'm saying the L.A. Chargers are going to the Super Bowl. Phillip Rivers, they got 2 big-time pass rushers in Bosa and Ingram. Keenan Allen is special. I just think they're going to prove a lot of people wrong, and those are my Super Bowl picks right there.
I feel like the Chargers have season tickets to February Super Bowl predictions. Like, they're always the AFC. I'll tell you the team this year. I'm going Saints-Jags as my Super Bowl pick. The Jaguars, we'll see if they upgrade at quarterback, if they draft one, if they go with Blake Bortles again. Maybe Blake Bortles improves his game. But the Saints, we talked about, they are such a balanced team all the way throughout. They lost on somewhat of a fluky play. That's who I like. All right, let's do this. All right, Chicago Bears. I'm looking at you because you can make a leap next year. I like the defense, like the running game. And you think about Mitch Trubisky, think about the leap that Carson Wentz made in year 2. Okay, Detroit Lions, please, please, please get running game. Any kind of running game. I'll take anything. Texans, got them way up. People were surprised how high I had them at 12. I had them at 11 before Deshaun Watson got hurt. When he comes back, J.J. Watt and those guys, and then you look at the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is back. That's why they're at 10.